and a place called I guess. It's U-R. Now remember, I'm automatically channeling this, right, Tommy? So I have assisted in times of Enki, Naba, Marduk, Ninurta, and Thoth. They have all said, but look to the heavens and you will find us there. This time the vessel we use has lived in Mesopotamia, Theopolis, Memphis, Atlantis, and Mu, some call Lemuria. This vessel will be assisting in a revitalized empire of the gods. This mission is to erect the place we call a spaceport once again. The last time was of the prophecy test B of the Sumerian records. Be in remembrance of the great city of which Sodom and Gomorrah lived. Also watch for the major eclipses of the moon as the word of the celestial omen. Now we are the High Council. We are the High Council of whom we appoint the oracle priest and priestesses. Oracle High Priestess is the room which set below. The blank is a line there, which you call the Sphinx and the Spaceport. The delay almost cost her life. She will listen to the Supreme as well as the Chosen. In quotes, Amen, A-M-E-N, again, will be in the Thera, Thera, dash Thebes, Thebs, and Pleiades, Pleiades, via Sirius, Sirius. Once again, the company of the gods which come forth from the heavens will assemble at Signet, Signet, announcing, in quotes, glory to the gods of the highest. There art the God more powerful of them all. Thou art the sole one. Then it goes into more universal God. But let me get Tommy on here now. So thank you guys for calling in. And we will, if you're calling in for readings, I'll do those on Thursday. But, Tommy, can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you for calling in and helping me today. You've been 8 years we've been doing this, Tommy. And I want you to help me with, did you just hear what I wrote years ago and found and
yes.
Put it in a book years ago? So automatic writing is pretty interesting, and I don't know what all this means or if it means anything, but Janet told me she'd never even read it, but I read it to her one time on the show, and it's here somewhere because it says it is, but I don't think I discussed it with you. So maybe some part of me in the past, and you started helping me yesterday, and I told you I wanted you to help me outside the body, but can we use that as some idea of what humans may or may not relate to, right? Communication. So I'm relating to you as outside of me, and we can talk to people about how we're going to build this Ascension Church Ohana as of today. And you notice all the things we've studied for 8 years together. So we got 8 years of history right here on this radio show, so people can find about me personally and you personally. And, of course, I deleted some shows because it was debating, and I lost Stanton Friedman, which was part of this. But before I lose the train of thought, what do you think of past lives and reincarnation? Is that where we want to go? Because that's what I ask you to show up and help me as your higher self, right? We always talk about that gets in the car. But have you done automatic writing yourself? Do you have any experience with automatic?
I used to write poetry, but from a weird state. And I used to just write. It was hard to understand what I wrote, but at one time I gave it to my grandmother to read, and she started crying.
Aww.
I always wrote about energy and love and how it channels into this world and stuff, and how people don't get it. But I'm not directly I never got into like writing books or writing things at that kind of level. When I write, I go into not an altered state. I go into I guess you could call it a semi-altered state, where it's like words just come to you. I put to thought what I'm focusing on, and then it just fills in all the words that go with it. So you could kind of call it automatic writing, but I'm more in guiding, in putting what I wanted to guide to write. Not like I just say, okay, put messages down, and then it writes, you're going to go through a snowstorm tomorrow. So it's probably a lot different for me than it is for you. But I know some people just sit there, they can close their eyes and just put paper in front of them and they just keep going across with their fingers and write, and then they read it when they're done. So, but I'm seeing.
So you think that would be? So that was one description. Now, folks, you don't have to, just do it. But we're just talking about the different things that are happening to me and how we're going to go forward with Ascension Church Ohana and Metaphysics. So, channeled writing is what I received, and I've been finding some funny things with me, and asked Tommy to talk about himself and our soul outside, and how, if it affects you from your personal experiences, so we can all get to know each other and be real. I want to be human and be real and experience what it's like on the planet. And my mission is, I told you my mission statement is about the Ascension Center. But Tommy, with today, Ascension Church Ohana, and you've always been there, and we've done the ACO, and we're going to get serious about this level of existence. So I know that this book, Enchanted Development, if people would like to follow along, and you don't have to get the book. I haven't even ever really sold the book, and Janet didn't even ask for a copy. But I guess it's on Amazon. It used to be on Lulu or Amazon. Let me look. Made in USA, Charleston, South Carolina. Let's see. In the front, I didn't even put. It says copyright 2014, Theresa J Morris. All right, it's reserved. It's got an ISBN number 13978 150-101-3997. But I don't know if Lulu owns that number or Amazon, Tommy. So I don't know how to track these things down, folks. You'll just have to look for Theresa J. Morris is on the top.
You can just
That's
put,
Theresa with an H.
Amazon or Lulu and just type that number in there and see where it brings you.
Okay. All right. And
usually one gives it to the other. Lulu usually gives it to Amazon, or you got it on the e-books as well, don't you? Or no?
No. I lost all those files years ago, so I don't have any of my e-books are online. And then when they moved that Create Space where we used to self-publish, I lost all those files. And I've talked to people out of country that were with Amazon, and they were called Kindle, right, like Kindle books. I guess Amazon owns Kindle. So they were save money, I guess, in the way that we talk online as service. I'm a hosting service person too, hosting specialist. They were combining Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, folks. He's the richest man in the world. So we were all going with him, all the publishing houses, trusted him during the print on demand when we were downsizing all our factories. So, but anyway, I was a publisher and had to do 20 publishing books, and I worked in a publishing house, and my mother always wanted to be a publisher. I actually started as a catcher on the end of a book route. It's a long story. So I have been a publisher, and I worked in printing, and then I drove coast to coast driving all the stuff we printed, books and TV guides and magazines across the country, and then helped people track books. I've had so much history in this life. Well, okay, so we'll say that that's going to be one of our topics, folks. Time capsule is when you write things, hide them from yourself. So that was chapter 1. We got to chapter 2, channeling automatic writing, and Tommy says some people just sit down and write, and it's whatever comes to you. Now, you can be inspired, or like him, he called his poetry. So we're going to be here to support you and whatever it is that you want to learn with us as Ascension Church Ohana Metaphysicians, spiritual science, soul, unity, love, and peace. And I promised my daughter would be strictly uplifting today. So, all right, Tommy. So it's in this book, Time Capsule, then Channeled Automatic Writing, and then the High Council was Chapter 3. We are the High Council. So we can talk about that a little bit. Oracles, priests, and priestesses, and serve as oracle priestess, ascended masters. So, Tommy, let's talk about that High Council, or I can say the universal God of destiny that takes place at the gateway of the gods once again. So that's a declaration of peaceful existence. So that's the declaration of a God at the gateway, but it depends on the individual's soul essence. So, Tommy, now, Tommy, you've died before or close to death, or at least had out of body. So you know mine and I know yours. And so when you come back in or you learn how, you got into Eckankar, but we don't have to go by individual belief systems or individual world religions, because we're basically unemployed theosophical or philosophers or theocrats. We study theology in the Church of the People of the Ascension and Oracles. But what do you want to talk about with us outside? But because each one is an individual, but right now you're seeing all these individual humanoid, sentient, intelligent beings gathering in the world in their journey of awakening, and they're about peace. And a lot of them are now called protesters in all countries, not just here in America. So, this apparently God has a peaceful existence, but it seems to be a lot of people at what we call as above, so below, but we have the way that we separate higher beings are beings that believe they're higher in organizations or with money, or like Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, or other rich men. And here in America, we believe to ascend and evolve, and you want, the way other people have, because it gives them freedom of choice. But now we're going to be about your own soul and existence as an independent voter, as a human. But Tommy, can we talk about how we're higher, our self coming down? I'm going to let you talk on that for a minute, because we all have our own God source. What do you think?
All right. For me, I can only talk about what I know and experience, and that's the only things I do talk about. I won't talk about somebody else's experience. And we could start with soul, which what we are when it first comes down to planet Earth, or another planet, or another solar system. But when it first comes down from the higher realm to this realm, it takes on a body, and that body is called the body that we use, and we call it the human body. But if you're on another planet, whatever they call it would be what you'd call it. But it's what soul goes into to get around in a certain vibration. Picture when you go into space, you put a spacesuit on because you can't breathe the air there. So when you come into this reality, you got to put the suit on that allows you to be in this reality. And there is a separation between that body and you when you step into it. But since you're the driver of the body, the only way I'd like you to see it in your mind, the way I can explain it is, if you have a robot and you put him there, he's got all the things to make him go up and down, walk and talk, but you have to do all that for him. Like you got to make him move his arms, you tell him to go forward. So when we get in a car, it's like driving a car. You turn it on, you drive it. Now Tesla's coming out with a car that drives itself. So what's that going to do to that idea? A lot different, because it's putting a synthetic mind inside a car. So, which means they're also making human robots. So, getting back to the body itself, when we come into this body as a child, when we're born, soul is aware. It has a different awareness, but it is aware of itself. When it comes into the body, it has to use the facilities that are in that body, which is a brain, a heart, a liver, kidney, nervous system, blood, and all that. So, instead of being a higher energy dimensional being, it comes into a less dimensional body, for a word. So when it comes into this body as a child, the awareness is there, except the mind that runs the body would be, I guess, if you had an electric car, it would be the battery that runs